Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we'll be talking about the best fights that each and every one of the Straw Hats have had in the entire series. Now, the ranking system of this video is not going to be based on power levels, but it's going to be based on how interesting the fights are. And also keep in mind that the Straw Hats have had some other pretty amazing fight scenes, either during the pre-time skip or the post-time skip, which either did some pretty amazing stuff like assisting each other in a very cool way or fought some pretty interesting people. But these fights that I'm going to be talking about are their most iconic fights that push them to their very own limit, and they never gave up and still emerged victorious by unleashing or gaining a new source of power. Make sure don't forget to smash the like button if you enjoyed this video while watching, and also subscribe because it really helps me a lot. Now let's jump into the content of this video, but before that, this video contains spoilers up until 1. Coming up at 10th place, we have Chopper vs Kumatadori, which took place during the NS Levy arc on the Straw Hats mission to rescue Robin. Kumatadori was one of the CP9 agents back in the days when Lucci was still in command of CP9. Kumatadori is a master of the 6 Rokushiki techniques, which are techniques like the finger pistol, the Geppo, and the Tekai, aka the iron body, which is similar to armament haki that we often see Lucci and the others using. Aside from this, he also had a special ability of his own, which is called the Seme Kikan, which is an ability that allows him to control his body functions as he wishes. For example, increasing the length of his hair that he often used during that battle. But in exchange for this, he has to eat a large quantity of food, in which they were fighting in the kitchen, which actually gave him the upper hand. So Chopper tried to attack him, but he used the iron body, which made Chopper's attack useless. So Chopper found out that he couldn't defeat him easily without using a stronger form of his, because of the iron body that makes minor attacks useless against him. So he had to transform into a stronger form of his, but he had 3 disadvantages in this fight. And the first disadvantage is that he had 7 transformations and he couldn't switch to any of them easily like he does now. The second disadvantage is that he must use a Rumble Ball to be able to transform into any of these forms. And the third disadvantage is that he could only use at most 2 Rumble Balls within 6 hours, and if he uses more than that, he's going to lose control of himself and transform into Monster Point, which he was not yet in control of. And he will just keep destroying everything in his path till he runs out of energy or he gets stopped by any of his loved ones. So his plan of defeating Kumatadori was to transform into Arm Point, which he was going to use to defeat Kumatadori, but Kumatadori kept on attacking him and got him pretty injured. So he finally transformed into Arm Point and hit Kumatadori with an attack called Rosio Meta. He got Kumatadori pretty injured, but he still didn't defeat him. Chopper was shocked, and all that was left of him was his determination to win, because at this point he had run out of energy. There was nothing he could do, and his only option was to use the third Rumble Ball. He finally used the third Rumble Ball and transformed into Monster Point, which is a form that was so hyped, and we finally got to see it in action for the first time. So he slammed Kumatadori a couple of times into the ground, and that was all for Kumatadori. Anyways, Franklin later brought him back to normal by pushing him into the ocean, because he's a devil fruit user and the seawater is going to drain out the energy from him. So he came back to normal and the fight was over. Coming up at 9th place, we have Brook vs Ryuma, which took place during the trailer park incident. Ryuma is the greatest samurai in the history of Wano, who died from a disease, and years later after his death, his corpse was retrieved by Moria, and about 5 years before the start of Luffy joined in search of the One Piece, Moria stole Brook's shadow and used it to reanimate Ryuma and made him walk under him, which is kind of similar to the reanimation jutsu in Naruto, because we know that if you reanimate someone, that person has to work for you because you have full control over that person. After Moria stole Brook's shadow, Brook went back to Trailer Park to get his shadow, where he got to meet Ryuma. He fought Ryuma and then got defeated because Ryuma was much more stronger than him. He accepted his defeat to Ryuma and begged for his life. Ryuma had no choice but to let him go, because killing Brook also means killing the shadow in him. When you steal someone's shadow and put in another body in which that body needs to be dead, the reanimated body also have the same fighting ability as the person who has the shadow. But the problem here was the physical abilities of the two bodies. Obviously, Ryuma was much more stronger than Brook, and there was just no way he could defeat him like this. When the Straw Hats came to Trailer Park after Brook had joined them, he decided to go after Ryuma again to see if he had any chance of winning, but he still got defeated again. He got his skull, his spine, and some of his other bones broken, and when Ryuma was about to chop off his afro as punishment for him being too stubborn, Zoro and Franky stepped in and saved him. So Zoro fought Ryuma, defeated him, and ended up getting the black blade from Ryuma, and Brook also got his shadow back. Now, though Brook never defeated Ryuma, but it was just something interesting to watch him fight desperately for his shadow, knowing that Ryuma was much more stronger than him. At 8th place, we have our boy Usopp versus Perona. Though we have Usopp versus Luffy, but it was much of a friendly fight because Luffy said himself that there was no way that Usopp could defeat him, and if he wanted to end things easily, he would have done it. But he just prolonged the fight so he could prove that to Usopp that there was no way he could beat him, even if he uses everything that he has in his arsenal. Now, Perona is a member of the Thriller Bark Pirates and also Gecko Moriarty's adopted daughter. She's been with him ever since she was a kid, and she ate the Horo no Mi, which is a devil fruit that allows her to create and control various types of holos. For example, the negative holo, which induces depression and negativity to an opponent upon contact with that person. But this particular ability of hers had a disadvantage because it can actually work against her if that person is already much more negative than the negative holo. And we already know how negative Usopp is. He's got like 100% negativity in everything that he does, especially when it comes to fighting. So she tried to use this attack on Usopp, but she ended up being caught up in her own attack because of Usopp's negativity. She can also create the special holo which can catch and restrain her opponent, or the mini holo which can explode at her wish, and she can create an astral projection of herself which can fly and interact with the physical world. And the astral projection can also pass through objects, and physical attacks don't also work on her, which made things very difficult for Usopp to defeat her. He tried to attack Perona, but it didn't work. The attack passed right through her, and it was kind of strange for Usopp because Perona is not a Logia type user. He came to the conclusion that that's not Perona's real body, and he had once seen Perona run off to somewhere when he was distracted. He found out where Perona's real body is and destroyed the room and caught her real body on the bed with one of his special attacks. He then used his fake 10-ton hammer to trick Perona, which actually worked and got her terrified. This made her to pass out when Usopp tried to use the hammer because there was no way for her to run away from the attack, and she knew that she was going to die if she got hit by something that heavy. And Usopp was just so damn serious that she could feel his aura from his look. So this fight just proves that when it comes to negativity online, you just can't beat Usopp in that because that's his specialty, and this is also Usopp's last one-on-one battle. Coming up at 7th place, we have Nami vs Khalifa, which also took place during the NS Lobby arc. Khalifa was also one of the CP9 agents who had the Awa no Mi, which is a devil fruit that allows her to create and control soap bubbles that can be used for various purposes. For example, she can create this soap barrier which can protect her against lightning. And she can use the soap bubbles to also wash off your physical strength. She can also make your body glisten by touching any part of your body, which greatly reduces your mobility. And it makes you unable to walk. On top of these devil fruit abilities, she could also use the 6 Ryokushiki techniques, even though we didn't get to see her using much in the battle against her versus Nami. So Nami ended up discovering that the weakness of this ability is water because water can wash off soap, and she used her climber tag to produce rainy clouds. She made it rain and she was then free from the ability. She then used this attack of hers called Mirage Tempo, which we haven't seen her use for a very long time. Like ever since the time skip, we haven't seen her use this ability. So this attack is done with the help of her perfect climber tag, which allows her to manipulate air density and temperature, creating a complex interplay for light reflection and light refraction, which results to various illusions of herself. So she used this to confuse Khalifa because anything that she does, the illusions also mimic her. But Khalifa didn't actually know which one is the real one, so she created thunder clouds and sent it towards her, and since there were 5 illusions, she told Khalifa that the 5 illusions will actually do the same thing that she does, and 20% of what she does is going to be real. But there's just one target, which makes it easier for the thunder clouds to hit her. So she hit her with the first thunderbolt and later used the same Mirage Tempo to confuse her, and then created another thunderbolt without Khalifa's notice, which she used to defeat her. Now, this fight is Nami's best fight because ever since the time skip, she's engaged in many battles, but in most of these battles, she was either providing assist or providing the finishing touch. And this was also the last time that we got to see her use Mirage Tempo. And I really hope that Oda brings this back because it's a pretty cool ability and it gives her a very good advantage in battle. At 6th place, we have Robin versus Black Maria. Black Maria was a member of the Beast Pirates and she was one of the Toby Ropos. She had the Kumo Kumo no Mi, which is a zone type that allows her to transform into a prehistoric carnivorous spider featuring a centaur-like body with spider legs and arms. This Deofu gives her every spider ability, including producing venom, creating cobwebs and trapping opponents in them, and she also has claws when she transforms into her hybrid form. So she used the cobwebs to trap Robin and try to torture her. She started reminding her of her old self before she became part of the Straw Hats, telling her that she's just a liability and a burden to the Straw Hats because she's a highly wanted person both by the war government and even pirates due to the fact that she's a survivor from Ohara and she can read the poneglyphs, which encodes a lot of information about the world. And she told Robin that the Straw Hats just want to use her for these aspects and that the Straw Hats don't truly love her like she thinks. This got Robin very angry and she had to fight back and prove to her that the Straw Hats actually love her because she knows how far the Straw Hats have gone for her and she knows that if not of the Straw Hats, she would have been long dead by now. So she used the Fishman Karate, specifically the Palm Strike, which she had learned from Koala and Sabo during her 2 years of being with the Revolutionary Army. She combined this attack with her new Demon transformation, which we got to see for the very first time. And this is shocking because we didn't actually know that Robin could transform into something like this, which actually looks giant and demonic. So she used her giant transformation to break Black Maria's neck and her arms, and the fight was over. So this fight is actually Robin's best fight because ever since the time skip, we haven't really seen the true limits of her abilities, and she got to prove it to us in this battle. So this is the first part of this video and I'm going to drop a link in the description below for the part 2. See you guys later.